Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going deep into some fascinating reports about AI. And these reports are from the World Economic Forum.
That's right.
They really get into how AI is changing everything.
Uh-huh. Everything from like energy and manufacturing to finance, healthcare. I mean, it
Oh,
even gets into media and sports. It's pretty amazing.
I know, it's everywhere. One thing that I thought was so interesting was how AI can be a tool for both good guys and bad guys, especially in cybersecurity.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, it can help attackers find and exploit these vulnerabilities way faster.
Think about it. Like, imagine AI models being used to just autonomously find zero-day vulnerabilities. So these are flaws in software that
Right.
haven't been patched yet.
So it's like turbocharging hackers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to
Yeah.
really have robust security measures built in when you're implementing AI systems.
So it's like building a fortress. You can't forget to think about the walls.
Yeah, you don't want to wait till the end. It has to be like baked in. Security by design.
Yeah, okay. So that's a little scary. Let's talk about something a little more fun.
Hmm.
Like, what about the energy sector? I know AI can really be a key player in helping us to have a more sustainable future.
Oh, absolutely. And there are some really cool examples in these reports. Like one of them highlights
Yeah.
how AI is being used to unlock all this dark data that companies have collected. And this data is being used for
Dark data.
sustainable industrial maintenance in the automotive industry.
Okay.
It's basically like information that companies haven't really been able to use effectively because it's not like structures in the right way or formatted correctly. But AI can come in, make sense of all that, and then
So it's like an AI data detective.
exactly. And it helps reveal these amazing insights that can be used to improve things like preventative maintenance, fault analysis, and all that.
Hmm.
Ultimately, what does that do? It reduces downtime, it reduces resource consumption.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff.
So that's an automotive, but it also gets into data centers, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, those things use a lot of energy.
They're energy hogs, you're telling me.
Oh.
But so some companies like SAP, they're using AI to really analyze all this data that's coming out of these data centers. And then they use those insights to do things like optimize, the airflow, the insulation. They even look at,
It's like a smart thermostat for a giant data center.
you got it, it is. And it helps reduce that environmental footprint. It makes them operate so much more efficiently. It's amazing.
Wow. That's really cool. And AI is being used for so much more than that. It can also help with things like building management and manufacturing process.
Oh, for sure. And don't forget EV charging and even the stability of the power grid.
I mean, the potential is huge,
Huge.
but there are also some challenges, right?
Yeah, there are. Like one of the big ones is the energy that AI itself needs to actually run.
Oh, right, because all those complex models, they take a lot of computing power.
A lot of computing power. And that means more energy consumption. So it's almost a paradox. We're trying to use AI to move toward a more sustainable future, but it's also adding to the energy demand.
Yeah, it's like running a marathon with weights on.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a good way to put it. And, the reports also talk about data sovereignty. That can be a challenge, too, especially
far.
when we're talking about locating these data centers near all these awesome clean energy sources.
So tell me about it. What is data sovereignty?
So it's this idea that the data, wherever it's collected and stored, it's subject to the laws of that country.
Oh, okay.
So let's say you're a European country. You might have all these regulations about data about your citizens and where it can be stored. It's got to be stored in Europe. But then you also have all these places with amazing renewable energy that might not be in Europe.
It's a puzzle, right? Like trying to match where the energy is with where you are actually allowed to have the data.
It is. And policymakers, they've got to be smart about promoting responsible AI deployment. Like, how do we plan our energy infrastructure? How do we handle data governance? How do we encourage companies to locate data centers in a way that makes sense for both sustainability and also follows the data storage rules? It's a lot.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is.
Okay, so I want to shift gears just a little bit and talk about manufacturing, because I thought it was so fascinating how these reports talk about AI agents.
Mm-hmm.
And these can be both like virtual and physical,
Oh, yeah. They're like revolutionizing how things are done.
and they're playing a bigger and bigger role in industrial operations.
Yeah. And these AI agents, think of them as like little software programs or even physical robots, they can actually learn and adapt and make decisions, you know? They're creating these self-controlled systems.
So they're like super smart assistants.
Exactly. So you don't just need human input and control all the time. These AI agents can take on some of that decision-making and just make those industrial processes smoother and faster and just better.
Wow. And they're already being used in a lot of different ways, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, virtual AI agents can optimize production processes. Imagine this AI agent is just watching how these machines are performing, and then it automatically adjusts parameters to hit like a specific production goal. It's pretty amazing.
It's like having an AI expert on staff who's just constantly tweaking things, making sure that they're running as efficiently as possible.
Yes, exactly. And then you have these other agents. They can do real-time production planning.
Oh, wow.
They look at the data coming from all over, supply chains, inventory, customer demand, and they can just adjust those production plans on the fly, which is super, super helpful.
It's like having a crystal ball that tells them what people are going to want before they want it.
It is. It is. And then on the physical side, you've got robots getting AI upgrades too.
So we're moving away from robots that can only do one thing.
Totally. They're moving away from these rule-based systems to more context-based systems.
Okay.
So they can actually learn and adapt to new situations, which means, oh, that's cool.
They can do way more. They're more dexterous. They're just way more versatile. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. What does this mean for human workers, though?
Well, you know, instead of being operators, I think we're going to see more humans as kind of AI-enabled orchestrators.
Okay.
So instead of like directly controlling machines, they'll be kind of overseeing these AI agents and stepping in when they need to, you know?
So when human judgment or creativity is really needed?
Yeah, or problem solving, whatever it might be.
That's fascinating. I want to shift to finance. I know AI is changing a lot there, too. It seems like a natural fit, right? Because it's all about data.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, out of all the industries out there, financial services, they're spending the most on AI.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And AI is just being deployed like everywhere in finance.
Yeah.
Front office, back office, you name it.
It's everywhere. Everywhere. It's being used to detect fraud. They're processing insurance claims, managing risk. I mean, they're even using it to make decisions about loan approvals. It's pretty amazing.
So it's like a financial super assistant.
It really is. And the potential to drive innovation, improve customer support. Oh my gosh, it's enormous.
I know. I love the idea of having personalized advice 24/7 from an AI chatbot.
Right. Or an AI system that helps you analyze market trends, helps you as an investor make better decisions. It's just, the possibilities are endless.
I know. That sounds so helpful. Especially for someone like me who knows nothing about finance. But I do have some concerns. What about the potential for misuse?
Yeah, that's always a risk with powerful technology. Like, what if these AI systems get used to manipulate markets or spread fake news? What if an AI is generating fake information about a company? It could completely, like, wreck the market.
So it's kind of like the fake news problem, but like amplified.
Yeah, amplified. Exactly. And that's why we need things like good cybersecurity, you know, strong regulations and making sure that these systems are developed in a transparent way, you know. We've got to be able to hold them accountable.
Transparency, accountability. Yeah, we keep hearing those themes over and over again. Okay, let's talk healthcare.
Okay.
It's another area ripe for disruption.
Oh, absolutely. And generative AI, Gene AI, it's already growing super fast in healthcare.
I know. I'm so excited about the potential.
Yeah.
But it does seem like, you know, maybe adoption is a little slower compared to other sectors. Why do you think that is?
Well, a few things. You know, data privacy is a big deal in healthcare.
Okay.
You're dealing with sensitive patient data, and there's a lot of regulations about how you can use that data, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
It can be a challenge to train these AI models with all these rules. And then there's the regulatory complexities around using AI in healthcare in general. I mean, you've got doctors and other healthcare professionals who are understandably a little cautious about using these new technologies in such a sensitive field. You're dealing with people's lives here.
It's high stakes. So it's like we need to navigate these regulations, build trust with healthcare providers, and make sure that we're protecting that sensitive patient data.
Yeah.
So are there companies that are actually finding ways to use AI effectively while addressing those concerns?
Oh, absolutely. And the reports say that we really need to move past these pilot projects, you know?
Okay.
We need to show people the real-world benefits of using AI in healthcare.
So they'll actually buy in.
Yeah. And then we'll get the investment we need. We need to demonstrate the value.
Because you can't just talk about it. You have to show what it can actually do.
Exactly. And these reports, they highlight 6 key transitions that are needed for AI-driven healthcare to actually reach a global scale. Oh.
And those are things like integrating data from all these different sources so you get a really comprehensive picture of a patient, preparing the healthcare workforce to actually work in an AI-powered future, and building trust, proactively building trust in AI amongst patients and healthcare professionals. It's a lot.
It's a huge undertaking, but it could really change things for the better.
It could. It really could.
Okay. One more sector to hit, logistics.
Okay.
I think it's another one that's really crucial to our global economy, and AI can really shake things up there too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it can help make supply chains more efficient, more sustainable.
Oh, yeah. I'm super interested in that.
And the reports talk about how AI can create what they call smart logistics.
Okay.
And basically, there are 3 levers that they talk about: operational excellence, optimizing capacity utilization, and shifting to more eco-friendly modes of transportation.
Okay. Tell me about operational excellence. What does that mean in logistics? So think about all the moving pieces in a supply chain. Trucks, ships, trains, planes, warehouses, delivery routes. AI can analyze all that data, optimize those routes, reduce dwell times.
What are dwell times?
Oh, sorry, that's the time that cargo is just sitting idle at ports or in warehouses.
Okay.
And AI can even help drivers, drive better. It can save a lot of fuel, reduce emissions.
So it's like AI is conducting the orchestra of the supply chain.
I love that. Yeah, keeping everything moving and flowing smoothly.
Yeah.
Now, the second one, capacity utilization. One of the biggest challenges is empty capacity.
Yeah, trucks driving around empty, ships sailing around empty.
It's inefficient and it adds to the emissions problem, but AI can actually help to match supply and demand,
Okay.
consolidate those shipments, and even predict demand, so we don't have all those empty runs.
So it's like finding carpool buddies for trucks and ships.
Totally. Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And there's a case study in one of the reports about a European freight forwarder that used AI to reduce their empty capacity by 31%.
That's huge.
I know, right? It's incredible what it can do.
What about those eco-friendly modes of transportation?
Yeah. Sometimes it actually makes more sense to move cargo by train or by water.
Okay.
Even if it takes a little bit longer, it can be better for the environment.
Right.
And AI can help us figure out what the best mode is, It considers the cost, the time, the environmental impact, and then it can help companies optimize that transportation.
So AI is like a logistics advisor, helping companies make those tough decisions about how to transport their goods.
Exactly. And for this to work really well, we need industries to work together and share data, because the more data these AI systems have, the better they can optimize and make the best decisions.
It sounds like AI is already making a big difference in the world of logistics.
It really is. And I think it's only going to get more sophisticated and more impactful.
I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Now, before we wrap up this, part of our deep dive, I want to touch on media, entertainment, and sports, because I think those are going to be some of the most interesting areas where AI really takes off.
Oh, yeah. And these reports get into how generative AI is really revolutionizing how we create and distribute content.
That's so cool. So give me some examples. How is AI being used to make content? I mean, I can't imagine an AI writing a screenplay or composing a symphony.
You might be surprised. I mean, it might not be ready to completely replace human creativity, but it's becoming a really amazing tool to help human creatives.
Yeah.
Think about AI tools that can help writers brainstorm new ideas, generate different versions of scripts, and even compose music in all sorts of styles. It can really help artists and storytellers just get over that creative block or explore something new. It's a really cool tool.
So it's like having an AI brainstorming partner.
Yeah. It is. It is. And, you've got so much content out there, right? It's overwhelming. But AI is also getting really good at, personalized recommendations.
That's so helpful.
It is. So you can find movies, shows, music, articles, whatever you're into. You can cut through all that noise and find things that you actually want to watch or listen to. It's pretty cool.
I love that. It's like having an AI curator that knows your taste perfectly.
Exactly.
And it can even make live events better, right?
Oh, yeah. They're using it to provide real-time insights and analysis during broadcasts to make the whole experience way more engaging for viewers.
Wow. So it's like an AI sports commentator who can analyze everything.
Yeah.
At a level we could never do on our own.
It is. It is. But of course, with all this potential, There are also potential downsides, like we talked about earlier, misinformation,
Oh, right. Deepfakes.
deepfakes, and they can be incredibly powerful and
Yeah,
dangerous.
because AI can create these fake videos and fake news articles,
Mhm.
and it's hard to tell what's real and what's not, and that can really have an impact on people's opinions.
It can. And it can affect elections, it can damage reputations, it can even incite violence. It's a big deal.
It is.
So we need to be careful. We need to develop these systems ethically, be transparent about how we create and distribute this content. And we need to use AI responsibly to moderate content and make sure
So it's not just a technology problem, it's an ethical problem.
it is. And it's going to take everyone working together to make sure that AI is enhancing our lives, not making things worse.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue exploring these challenges and ethical considerations in part 2.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everyone. So before the break, we were talking about the potential for AI to be misused, especially when it comes to spreading misinformation. You know, those deepfakes are pretty scary.
They are, and it's not just about people intentionally trying to mislead others. You have to think about unintentional errors and biases, too.
Oh, right, like those could cause problems as well.
Yeah, they can. Like, imagine an AI system that's supposed to summarize news articles, right?
Oh,
But the data it learned from had a certain bias. So what happens?
it's going to summarize things in a biased way.
Exactly. It might highlight certain viewpoints, leave out important context, and before you know it, you've got a whole wave of misinformation spreading.
It's like a game of telephone, but with AI.
Yes, it's a great analogy. And this is why it's so important to know how these AI systems are being developed. Like, what data did they use? How are they mitigating the risks? We need more transparency.
It's like wanting to know what ingredients are in your food.
Right, exactly. You want to know what you're consuming. Okay, so shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about workforce readiness. We've touched on it a bit, but it's a big deal with AI changing so many industries. What does it mean for jobs? What skills do people need?
Right. Is everyone going to be out of a job? Will robots take over everything?
Well, it's probably not going to be that dramatic, but it will change things for sure.
Right.
AI will automate some tasks, maybe even replace some jobs, but it will also create new opportunities. The key is being prepared.
So how do we prepare? What are the must-have skills for an AI-powered world?
Well, you know, knowing how to work with AI is becoming more and more important. That means understanding how AI works, how to train AI models, how to interpret what they're telling you, how to spot errors or biases.
So data science, critical thinking, AI ethics, those are going to be important, right?
Exactly. Those are super valuable. But it's not just about the tech skills.
Yeah.
We'll also need people who can kind of bridge the gap between humans and machines, people who can collaborate, make sure AI is used ethically and responsibly, and really think about the bigger picture.
So we need people who can speak both human and AI.
Yes, I love that. Like AI whispers. They can explain things in a way that everyone understands and make sure AI is a force for good. And on top of all that, all those uniquely human skills, you know, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, emotional intelligence, those are only going to become more valuable.
So AI is showing us what makes us human.
Exactly. Those are the things AI can't replicate, at least not yet. Okay, so let's get back to cybersecurity for a minute. We talked about it earlier, but the risks are just getting bigger as AI systems become more complex and interconnected.
Right. It's like a city. The more complex it gets, the harder it is to protect. So what kinds of threats are we talking about here? Are we talking AI hackers?
Well, that's definitely a possibility. Imagine AI systems that can find weaknesses in networks, exploit them super fast, and even learn from their attacks to get better.
It sounds like something from a sci-fi movie.
It does, but it could happen. We need to
Right.
be ready. That means we need strong cybersecurity defenses, and we need to use AI to defend against AI.
So it's like having an AI bodyguard, always watching out for threats.
That's a good way to put it. But remember, even with the best technology, humans are still the weakest link.
Oh, right. People still fall for those phishing emails and all that.
Exactly. Education is key. We have to teach people how to protect themselves, how to be safe online. Even with amazing AI security systems, one wrong click can ruin everything.
Good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so data. We've talked about privacy in healthcare, but it's really a big deal everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
AI needs tons of data to get better, but how do we balance that with keeping people's information private?
Right. It's tricky. We want AI to learn and improve, and that takes data, but we can't just ignore people's right to privacy. It's a balancing act.
So how do we strike that balance? What can we do to protect data privacy in an AI world?
Well, there are some really cool technologies emerging, like differential privacy.
Okay, what's that?
It basically adds noise to the data sets to protect people's privacy, but still allows AI to learn from it. And then there's federated learning.
Okay, that's a new one for me.
It's pretty cool. It lets AI models train on different data sets without actually seeing all the raw personal data. Like imagine learning from a book without actually reading the words.
That's a great analogy. I like
You
that.
can see the patterns, understand the structure without needing to see every single word.
Wow, so it's like AI can learn without actually snooping on our private data.
Exactly. It's pretty amazing. And of course, we still need strong data governance policies, clear regulations, and a real commitment to transparency and accountability.
So tech solutions, good policies, and a culture of being open about how we're using data.
Exactly. We need all of it to make this work. Okay, so we've talked about responsible AI development, ethical guidelines, data privacy, all that good stuff. But what about AI governance? What does that actually mean?
Yeah, what is AI governance?
It's basically the processes, policies, regulations, all the things that guide how we develop and use AI responsibly and ethically.
So it's like the rule book for AI. But who writes the rule book?
Yeah.
And who makes sure everyone follows the rules?
That's the tough part. It's not simple. It's going to take governments, industry leaders, researchers, ethicists, even the public, everyone working together. We need ethical guidelines, regulations, ways to hold people accountable, and a real commitment to responsible innovation.
It sounds like a huge challenge. Is anyone doing AI governance well?
There are some good examples out there. The European Union, for example, they've proposed some pretty comprehensive regulations.
Okay, what are they doing?
They're focusing on high-risk AI, like the kind used in healthcare or law enforcement. And they're really big on transparency, human oversight, and accountability. Canada is another good example. They're more focused on developing AI in a way that respects human rights and is inclusive.
So different approaches, but with similar goals.
Yeah.
Ethics, transparency, accountability.
Exactly. It's good to see people taking this seriously. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the big picture, but I want to get into some real-world examples.
Yeah, let's see AI in action.
Okay, so remember how we talked about AI agents transforming manufacturing?
Yeah, the AI-powered robots and all that.
Well, Siemens, they're using an autonomous quality control AI agent in their electronics factory in Germany.
Cool. What does it do?
It helps set up the solder paste printer for the first production run, which is super important for quality control.
Oh.
It's a complicated process, but this AI agent helps make sure it's done perfectly every time. Reduces errors, reduces waste.
Like having an AI expert guiding the workers, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, this AI agent is constantly learning and improving. It adapts as things change, so it just gets better and better.
It's like a never-tiring, always-learning apprentice.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Okay, how about energy? Aker BP, the oil and gas company, they're using AI to become more carbon efficient.
Oh, interesting.
They've got this AI platform that helps them run their offshore operations more efficiently, optimizes everything, reduces energy consumption, cuts down on waste.
So it's like their AI sustainability manager.
Yes, love that. And they're even aiming for fully autonomous operations at one of their fields.
Wow. So like no humans on site, just robots and AI running the show.
Pretty much. They'll have operators on shore managing everything remotely, using real-time data and AI to make decisions.
That's wild.
It is. It shows just how much AI can change things, even industries you wouldn't expect. Okay, last one. Finance. MasterCard's using AI to fight fraud.
Makes sense. Lots of data, lots of potential for fraud.
Right. They analyze tons of transaction data in real time to catch fraudulent activity.
So it's their AI fraud detective.
Exactly. And it's way better than humans at spotting those subtle patterns and anomalies that might indicate fraud.
That's really good to know.
It is. And these systems are always learning and evolving to stay ahead of the bad guys. Okay, last but not least, healthcare. We talked about it before, but AI is already making a difference in medical imaging.
Yeah, that was fascinating.
They're training AI systems to analyze X-rays, CT scans, MRIs, all that, to find problems, help with diagnosis, even predict patient outcomes.
So they can spot things that humans might miss.
Yeah, and they can do it much faster. It's like having an extra pair of eyes, but even better.
Wow. Like having an AI doctor assisting human doctors.
It is. And not just that, AI can personalize treatment plans too.
Okay, how does it do that?
By looking at a patient's medical history, their genetics, their lifestyle, even data from wearable sensors, AI can help doctors create custom treatments for each patient.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like having a treatment plan designed just for you.
Exactly. So yeah, these are just a few examples, and there are tons more out there. As AI keeps getting smarter, we're going to see even more amazing applications in all kinds of fields.
It's an exciting time.
Mhm.
But with all this potential, we have to be careful. We need to think about the ethical implications, the societal impact, and make sure AI is used for good.
I completely agree. We need to be thoughtful and responsible as we move forward.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been exploring some amazing ways that AI is changing the world. But like with any powerful technology, there are some challenges and ethical questions that we need to think about. As AI gets more sophisticated, what are some of the concerns we should be keeping in mind?
Well, one of the big ones is fairness. We have to
Hmm.
make sure that AI systems are fair and don't make existing inequalities even worse.
Right, because AI learns from the data we feed it. And if that data has biases, then the AI will too.
Exactly. Think about an AI that's used for hiring. If the data it's trained on has historical biases, it might unintentionally favor certain candidates based on things like gender, race, or socioeconomic background, even if those things aren't relevant to the job.
That's a really good point. So it's not enough to just build really smart AI. We also have to make sure the data it's learning from is fair and unbiased.
Exactly. And it's not just about the data and the algorithms themselves. The choices we make about what AI systems to build, where to use them, and who benefits from them, all of that can have a huge impact on equity and access.
So we have to be really careful that AI doesn't actually end up creating bigger divides in society.
Right. It's like building a highway. You can't just think about the engineering, you have to think about how it's going to affect the communities it connects to.
I like that analogy. So it sounds like we need a lot of different people involved in figuring out how to govern AI, not just the tech people.
Absolutely. We need policymakers, ethicists, social scientists, community leaders. Everyone needs to have a seat at the table to make sure AI is developed in a way that benefits everyone.
Okay, so if we're talking about responsible AI, what are some of the key ingredients we need to get there?
Well, first and foremost, we need clear ethical guidelines for developing and using AI. These guidelines should cover things like fairness, transparency, accountability, and the potential impact on society.
So it's like a set of rules for AI, making sure it's aligned with our values.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But it can't just be a list of nice sounding principles. We have to actually put these ethical guidelines into practice. AI developers, ethicists, legal experts, everyone has to work together to bake those ethical considerations into every step of the AI process.
Okay, so ethical guidelines are a good starting point. But what else do we need?
We also need solid regulations to set clear rules and standards for AI. These regulations should cover things like data privacy, how transparent the algorithms are, and who's accountable when things go wrong.
So it's about making sure that AI isn't a black box. We need to be able to see how it's making decisions, especially in areas like hiring or loans where bias can have a big impact.
Exactly. And we need ways to challenge those decisions if they're unfair. Regulations should also address the potential risks of AI, like using it for surveillance or developing autonomous weapons. We need safeguards to prevent AI from being used in harmful ways.
Right, those are some scary scenarios. Are there any governments out there that are doing AI regulation well?
The European Union is doing some interesting things. They're proposing an AI Act that categorizes AI systems based on how risky they are, with stricter rules for the high-risk applications like healthcare and law enforcement. They're really focused on human oversight, transparency, and accountability.
That makes sense. So different rules for different levels of risk. Are other countries doing something similar?
Canada's taking a bit of a different approach. They're more focused on developing AI responsibly, respecting human rights, and making sure it benefits society. They have ethical guidelines and are working on regulations that support innovation but also make sure AI is used ethically.
So it seems like a lot of different countries are thinking seriously about how to regulate AI, and they're trying to balance innovation with safety and ethics.
Yeah, definitely. But beyond ethical guidelines and regulations, we also need good technical standards and best practices for developing AI. This includes things like standards for data quality, techniques to make sure the models are working correctly, and guidelines for collecting and using data responsibly.
So kind of like building codes for AI, making sure it's built on a solid foundation.
Exactly. We need that foundation to make sure these systems are reliable, robust, and safe.
But even with all the best rules and regulations, we still need to build a culture of responsible AI development, right?
Absolutely. We need to educate people about AI, talk openly about the risks and benefits, and encourage ethical decision making at all levels, from the people developing the technology to the people using it.
So this is a much bigger conversation than just technology. It's about our values, our ethics, and how we want to shape the future.
It really is. And at the end of the day, human oversight is still crucial. AI is a powerful tool, but it shouldn't replace human judgment.
It's like having a co-pilot, not autopilot. We still need humans making the important decisions.
Exactly. And this is where workforce readiness comes back in. We need to make sure people have the skills to work with AI to collaborate with these intelligent systems.
So it's about upskilling and reskilling, not just replacing humans with machines.
Exactly. We need to invest in education and training so people are ready for the AI-powered future. And that means not just technical skills, but also things like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and the ability to work in teams with both humans and machines.
It sounds like lifelong learning is more important than ever.
It is. And we need to think about the people whose jobs might be affected by automation, make sure there are safety nets and new opportunities. The benefits of AI should be shared by everyone.
It's a lot to think about, but it's really important that we get this right.
I agree. This is a huge opportunity to create a better future, but we have to do it responsibly, ethically, and with a focus on human values.
Well, that's a great place to wrap up our deep dive into the world of AI. Thanks for joining us. It's been an amazing journey.
It's been a pleasure sharing this conversation with you. And remember, the future of AI is something we're creating together. The choices we make today will determine what that future looks like.